Hello and welcome to a brand new school year here at HEB ISD. In this presentation, we will discuss safety and security, the Standard Response Protocol, or SRP, as well as what you can do as a staff member to help keep your campus safe wherever you might be. Here in HEB, safety is of the highest priority. We have created trainings and security features to provide a safe and nurturing environment for our students and staff. Some of these items include beginning of year training for administrators, teachers, staff members, maintenance, and transportation personnel, as well as incoming substitutes. Other features include AI phones at our elementary and junior high campuses. This is a controlled access feature at each campus front door. Another item is the lock blocks. The lock block is an important feature for our safety measures as it allows the classroom door, or any door it is affixed to remain locked on the outside but not shut completely. This limits a teacher or staff member from having to step into the hall to lock the door in an emergency situation. All you have to do is swipe it over and let the door shut. A few other things to mention regarding what we do are annual safety audits. Buildings and facilities are walked each year, as well as when a concern is communicated regarding the safety of each one of our buildings. As mentioned before, substitute teachers are trained 5 times a year, and our Emergency Operations Plan, or EOP, is updated annually. So, how do we do it? There are 4 things we follow for our emergency planning: mitigation, preparedness, response, and recovery. Mitigation is what we do to try and prevent as much as possible. Preparedness is how we train and what we train for. Response is how we act according to the situation. And recovery is getting students and staff safe and back to operations as soon as possible. In our mitigation or prevention, we do quite a few things, some that have been discussed already. We know that our elementary and junior high campuses have AI phones or controlled access to the campus. Some other things that we do for prevention are housing a school resource officer, or SRO, at each secondary campus. We also have over 1,000 cameras across the district, along with expanded key card control access points. We also conduct and document drills, along with evaluating our buildings and their safety needs. Also, all individuals that could be in a district facility when a situation occurs are trained in our processes. This includes extended day staff and stadium workers, among the others that were already discussed. We are also always looking at best practices and researching to prevent situations. In preparing for an event, it takes much more than just doing drills. Drills are an important aspect of being prepared for an emergency situation, but as you can see, many other factors come into play when working on preparedness. This includes fostering great working relationships with our chiefs of police, as well as our local fire marshals. Creating this relationship takes us sharing what we do with them and working on a plan that can be used and as seamless as possible. We also host trainings and exercises to practice what is needed, along with police using our facilities for their training purposes. Our Educational Support Services Coordinator, Robbie Ball, is also a member of 3 North Central Texas Council of Government committees, so we can get the educational viewpoints across to other precincts and build those relationships, along with networking with surrounding school districts and their safety directors, and also being in constant communication with the Texas School Safety Center. In HEB ISD, we follow what is called the Standard Response Protocol, or SRP. The SRP was developed by a group named ILoveYouGuys.org after a school shooting occurred in Colorado. After the shooting, they realized that the communication between the campus and the police was lacking to where the terminology was not the same. The SRP takes care of this, and we'll go through that right now. So what is the Standard Response Protocol? The SRP is a common vocabulary used in emergency situations. It allows for clear communication of the event occurring and an action needing to be taken. All HEB ISD facilities use the SRP, as well as all cities that have a campus or facility located in them use the SRP. This allows for the terminology, no matter where you might go, what campus or facility you might have to be in, is all going to be the same across the board, no matter the location. There are 5 actions within the SRP: lock out, lock down, evacuate, shelter, and hold in your classroom. Each action is followed by a very specific directive. For lockout, it's lock out, secure the perimeter. For lockdown, it's lock down, locks, lights, out of sight. For evacuate, it's evacuate the building. There will be a predetermined location for you to go to when you have to evacuate the building. Please be aware of this, depending on the campus or facility that you are in. For shelter, it's shelter using the specific strategy depending on the hazard. It could be a gas leak, it could be a chemical cloud that is heading towards the campus, or it could be for severe weather. Listen to the directive given for the specific shelter. And finally, hold in your classroom. Hold in your classroom. Every action has specific instructions as stated, so listen for them over public address. Depending on the action that is called out for, make sure you are paying attention and know what to do depending on the situation. Let's start with lockout. So why would we need to do a lockout? Main reason for a lockout to be called is that there is something dangerous near the school. It could be a police chase that is going to go near the campus. It could be a suspicious person or a very specific person of interest that police are looking for. And the reason why we do a lockout is to keep it from getting inside the campus. So what happens during a lockout? Main thing is nobody comes in or out. Students are not allowed to leave for appointments. Parents are not allowed to enter the building. Staff members are not allowed to leave, so no one comes in or out. For the students, they need to get inside the building. If they are outside in a portable or outside at recess or have an outside lunch or are doing a class outside, they need to get inside the building if a lockout is called for. If you're on a campus when a lockout is called, bring everybody inside. If you happen to be outside with the group you're working with or for whatever purpose you might be on that campus for, everybody needs to come inside. You can help facilitate this by ushering people inside. As people get inside, make sure that the doors on the outside are locked. If they aren't, find an administrator, get those doors locked as fast as possible. All doors on the outside of each building should remain locked. Keep an eye out. Increase your situational awareness, and if something just doesn't seem right, it probably isn't. So make sure that if there's something going on that just doesn't seem right, go and talk to an administrator about it, tell your cooperating teacher, whatever the situation might be, let them know, and just kind of keep an eye out a little more so than you would during this type of situation. If you're working with small groups, might be on a campus for whatever the reason might be, just take attendance of who might be with you at the time and note the time that you do that. An important aspect of a lockout is that it is business as usual. Teachers and staff, inside the building, it is business as usual. So main points to understand about a lockout. The lockout is very much different from the other actions that we have. School goes on as normal, and if you're outside, you come inside. The lockout is actually the most common thing that is called for within a district. It's really a preventative measure that police departments or people that are on the campus see needs to be done in order to keep the campus safe. Understand that during a lockout, inside the building, it is school. Things are happening as normal. Kids can go to lunch, they can go use the restroom, they can travel to their specials, they can change classes. The difference is they cannot leave the building. They cannot go outside to go somewhere. They cannot leave to go to an appointment until the lockout is lifted by administration and the local police. Lockdown. Lock, lights, out of sight. A lockdown will be called if there is something dangerous inside the building. Could be a specific threat, could be an active shooter. Main thing we do a lockdown for is to get kids inside the rooms, get the doors locked, and to stop the access of that threat from entering a classroom and advancing through the building. Stay out of sight of the corridor window. And be quiet. Teachers or staff, if you're in a room, swipe the lock block and let the door shut. And turn off the lights. Leave the corridor window uncovered. There is no need to try and cover up the window. Main thing to understand is if you're in a lockdown during a drill or if an actual situation occurs. First, do not open the door for anybody. Even if the door is locked and somebody is knocking on the door, you do not open it up for anyone. Only an administrator or first responder can open the door to let you out. So do not open the door for anybody, and you will have to wait around until an administrator or first responder comes in, opens the door, and clears the room. Lastly, do not exit the room during a lockdown if the fire alarm goes off. Stay there, stay put, do not leave. The only way you are leaving is when an administrator and first responder come and get you. There are some other options included with the idea of a lockdown situation. The self-evacuate is also an option if it's the best option to keep you safe. If you are in a situation or a location that the best option for you to do is run and get outside, then run. Get out. There is nothing wrong with you running away from the danger if that is the best option for you to take. If you might be in a hallway, might be in a large common area, or you might happen to be in a room that does not have a lock block on it, you have the option to get out and run. If you happen to be in the bathroom, stay where you are. Do not leave that space. The police will come and clear those stalls and those bathrooms, and they will be there to come and get you, but stay where you are. If you're in the hall, get to the safest place possible and as fast as possible, even if this means running outside. Alright, main points about a lockdown. It's called when an immediate threat is seen or heard. And it's important to understand that when you might be on a campus when these drills are done, they are very important to do correctly every time and teach our students to take them seriously. Understand that keep the door locked at all times and use the lock block. You could be an advocate for the teachers and other staff members while you're on a campus to keep those lock blocks engaged and keep the doors locked. If a situation occurs, if you're in a drill or an actual situation, try and stay as quiet and calm as possible. I understand that the reality of the situation, it might be more difficult, but to understand that keeping that door locked and staying quiet is your best weapon. Do not open the door for anybody. Even if they say they are a student, they are whatever, the only way that you get out of that room is when an administrator or a first responder opens the door with their key and clears the room. Understand that in these situations that have occurred, no one has died behind a locked door. Active shooter situations are scary, but they are a reality. and to understand how we train and why we do it is extremely important. So understand that the door being locked using the lock block is a key asset for us within our campuses to keep any threat from getting in. Okay, moving on to evacuate to a specific location. With evacuation, we mainly tie this to the idea of fire drills. There could be other reasons why we would need to evacuate, but mainly it's for a fire drill or the fire alarm has gone off. So students, teachers, staff, leave your stuff behind, bring your phone with you. So as I said, bring your phone with you, close the door and make sure it is locked behind you, and the classroom door is part of the fire system. So on these points, make sure that the door closes behind you and that it is locked. If you are coming back in, the main thing for this is when you're coming back in, the door being locked, you can be the one that controls the access going back into the room that you're a part of to where nothing could be stolen without you in there. Secondly, the classroom door is part of the fire system. All of the doors within our schools and facilities are specific grade, and they help keep fire from spreading from room to room, hall to hall. So with the doors being shut, it is self-containing it up to a specific degree level to where by then, if it gets to that degree level, the sprinkler system should be kicking off and taking care of it as well. When you get out to your evacuation area or the area that you are, if you have students with you, make sure that you take their attendance, and if they were pulled from a teacher's class, that the teacher understands that you have them with you and that you can return them back to their classroom or keep them with you. But make sure you take note of who is with you and what class they belong to. So evacuation really goes into the idea of monthly fire drills. When we do these drills, or when an alarm goes off that is the fire alarm, know where to go. If you might not always be in the same room, you might be walking through a hall, you might be on your way out of the building, know where to go if the alarm goes off. If you are having somebody fill in for you that day, or you are going to a campus in which you know a substitute's going to be there with the teacher, make sure the teacher understands what to do, or the substitute knows what to do in the event this alarm goes off. And like I said, if you're not in your room, know where to go. Know what the quickest way out of the building is in order to evacuate in a safe manner. Also, you could evacuate for other reasons, not just for the fire alarm, as discussed before. So listen to the directions that are given on the PA system and evacuate accordingly. Shelter for a hazard using a specific strategy. So a hazard is a danger or risk that is coming towards our campus. And there are a couple of different items or things that could be this type of danger that we will discuss. First one is severe weather tornado. So shelter for tornado, drop, cover, and hold. Make sure that when you are traveling from campus to campus or going to do trainings or whatever might put you in one of our district facilities, that you know where to go if severe weather comes at you. The campuses will be given plenty of notice to go and do and take cover if a situation occurs, but also if you happen to be there on a day that they're going to be doing a drill, know where you need to go and the place that you need to go in order to be safe. Another reason we do a shelter is hazmat. A shelter in place and seal for hazmat, as you can see on the diagram in front of you. This is used, the tape within their Go Kit that the teachers have. Tape is used to go all around the doors and seal up the doors and vents. The HVAC systems should be shut off. And this is used in case of a gas cloud or a chemical leak or a chemical cloud is coming towards the campus and we don't want it to get into our air conditioning vents and systems. We use this to keep it out of the building and to shut off the HVAC system so it doesn't get through the ventilation system. Another part of the evacuation and shelter is a reverse evacuation. If you guys are outside, say you're helping with recess or might be outside for whatever reason, coming inside is the best thing to do. That's a reverse evacuation. So it could be wherever the threat was, Now the threat has changed, and the best thing to do is to come back into the building. So during a hazard, always listen for instructions and be prepared for the unexpected. You know that in Texas, things can happen and change very quickly. So we could be seeing great weather and all of a sudden a big storm cloud comes through from a pop-up storm. So be ready to be prepared for anything that could happen and change, and always listen for instructions from your administration. And the last of our protocols is hold in your classroom. Hold in your classroom was something that was done with HEB ISD and was officially put in with the SRP this year. Reason why we might need to do a hold in your classroom is that we need to keep people out of the halls. These reasons could be a power outage, a medical emergency in the hall, a large fight has broken out, or some type of other violent behavior has occurred in the hall to where we need to keep halls clear and let that situation be taken care of before we put any other students or staff in harm. If a hold in your classroom is called for within your campus, just close and lock your classroom door, or whatever door you might be in or room you might be in at that time. It is still business as usual within your classroom. However, in this situation, no one will be leaving the classroom to go to the bathroom or change classes. If a hold in your classroom is called, you will stay there until it is lifted, and you'll just do what you need to do within that classroom setting or within your group setting that you might be a part of until the hold in your classroom is taken off. As I stated before, a few reasons why we would want to do this: power outage, a fight, a medical emergency, or violent behavior is being shown in the hallway by a special needs student or another student of that nature, that the best thing for us to do is keep everybody out of the hall and let that situation be taken care of. So your role in the safety and security when you might be at admin building or maintenance, or might be at a campus facility. Here are some things that you can do. 1. Stay alert. If something seems out of place, it probably is. Research has shown that your gut instinct is correct 85 to 90% of the time. So if you see something, say something. It's much better for you to report something than dismiss it as nothing. And that is the second point on this, to report it. It is always better to go tell somebody about something that just doesn't seem right or seems out of place or suspicious than to let it go and it end up being a much bigger concern. And lastly, know your situation and location. Understand where you are and what's expected if a situation goes down or occurs. You might have different expectations at the different campuses that you travel to or are a part of, or facilities that you're a part of. Understand what you're supposed to do, where you might be at that time when a situation occurs. If there is a tornado or shelter in place for severe weather, where am I going? If it's a lockout, I understand that that's the same across the board. What am I going to do if it's a lockdown? Where am I going to go if there's something to do with a fire alarm going off? Know your situation, know your location, and react accordingly. If you have any questions regarding the district protocols and processes, please email Robbie Ball at the email listed on your screen, or give him a call at 817-399-2028. We hope that you have a safe and wonderful school year.